All right, well, somebody had to be crazy enough to tackle a tutorial for this classic Ritchie Blackmore solo, and that crazy somebody would be me. As one of my subscribers pointed out, there's no tutorial on YouTube for this solo. And as I have a penchant for doing lessons for the somewhat longer solos that other online instructors are somewhat reluctant to tackle, he thought that it would be a good fit for me and my channel, and he would be right. This is an obviously classic Deep Purple solo, very well known as one of Ritchie Blackmore's best. Yet it still doesn't seem to get the love that it deserves when put up against Ritchie's other more high-profile solo work, like Highway Star and whatnot. That said, it doesn't get much better than this when it comes to Ritchie Blackmore, let me tell you. This is a hard, bloody solo to play, so be prepared. If you don't have complete mastery of your left-hand pinky finger, walk away now, or be prepared to suffer. Maybe suffering is good. Strengthen that pinky up a little bit. There's one particular set of legato phrases in the first half of this solo that are incredibly difficult to play. There's not many covers of this on YouTube, but of the ones that I've watched, most of them bail on it and take the easy way out. Well, we will not be taking the easy way out. I'm going to show you how to play it right, the way Ritchie played it. That said, there are a few times where the guitar gets a bit lost in the mix, and it's almost impossible to tell what exactly he's doing. And I'll talk about those points when I get to them. I'll just, what I did is I just filled in what I think he's going for, and it sounds pretty good. This is a very long, frantic solo and very involved technically, so I'm going to break it into two parts, this being part one. Should have part two up in about a week or so. I still have to learn it first. This tutorial should cover the first minute and a half or so of this nearly 3-minute long solo. So if you're ready for some guitar punishment, let's get started. All right, let's have a look at the solo to Child in Time by Ritchie Blackmore and Deep Purple. We are in standard tuning for this one. I'm going to show you the little power chord intro to the solo. It's basically A, G, and F. And as you're letting that ring, you're going to switch up to your neck pickup, and then we're into the solo. Three full step bends at the 14th fret of the G string. The last one you're going to hold and give it lots of vibrato. And then you're going to finish up with one note at the 13th fret of the B string. And then we're into this lick. That is a full step bend at 15 and then on the B string, and then you're going to release back to the natural note. And then you're going to go 13, 12 of the B, and then 14 of the G. And when you hit that, you're going to give it a full step bend with vibrato. And then we're into this lick, the cool little lick. That is 14 of the G string. Then you're going to do a full step bend at 15 of the B, and then you're going to grab 12 of the high E. And then you're going to go 16, 15, 13 of the B, and then back to 15 of the B. And then when you get to that note at the 15th fret of the B, you're going to kill it, and then get ready for a pre-bend. You're going to do a full step bend. And then we're into this. So hammer on 13 to 15, back to 13, and then slide back to 12. And then you're going to pull off 14 to 12 of the G, and then slide back to 11. and then we're into this lick. So you're going to go 9 of the G, and then hammer on 7 to 8, and then pull off back to 7, and then pull off back to 5. And then up to 7 of the D, back to 5 of the G. And when you get to that note, you're going to give it lots of slow vibrato. So up to that point slowly. And then we're into this lick. That is sliding into 7 of the D string, back to 5 of the D, and then up to 7 of the A. And then back to 5 of the A. And then you're going to go 7 of the A, and then 7 of the D. And then we're into this lick. But before we play that lick, there's one odd little note that's in there. I don't know if it's a mistake that he made or if he did it on purpose, but there is a G note right there. So it kind of sounds like this. So there's a G note just before he does this. So you're going to bend 7 of the G for a full step bend, the little blues lick, and then you're going to grab 5 of the B and the E. And then you're going to grab 8 for a full step bend on the B string with lots of vibrato. And then we're into this lick. So that is 10 of the B down to 7, 8, 10 of the high E. And then you're going to hammer on 8 to 10, back to 8, back to 7 of the E. And then back up to 10 of the B. And then this lick. 7, 8 of the high E, and then pull them all off from 10, 8, 7, back up to 10 of the B. And then we're going to slide into 10 and then release back to 8 of the B. And then we're going to slide out to 7 of the G string. 5 back to 7. And then 5, 7 of the D. Actually, don't do what I just did there. Slide out to 7. Up to 5 of the D. And then slide your index up to 7. And then you're going to slide into 14 of the G string. And then things get crazy. So let's run through that whole opening slower solo, and then we'll get into the insanity that is Child in Time. And that is the entirety of the opening to the solo for Child in Time. And we're going to get into the next hairy part in a moment. All right, let's dig into this madness that is Child in Time when it starts getting hard. I hope you got your pinky all limbered up and ready to go because you're going to need it for this next lick. So we're on the neck pickup and we're coming out of this. And while you're letting that note ring as it's dying out, you're going to kick down into your bridge pickup, and then you're going to grab the 7th fret of the G string and you're going to hit it 6 times, and then you're going to start bending it. I think that's 24 times that you're pick hitting that. After the 6th one, you start bending until you're up to a full step bend. And then we're into this. And that is hard as balls to do because you're working with these 2 fingers together. And you don't often use those 2 fingers, especially using your ring finger kind of as your plant. So you're starting on 7 of the G and you're hammering on to 8, pulling back off to 7, and then pulling off to 5, and then grabbing 7 of the D string. So what's the hardest part is jumping with your ring finger back and forth here. Getting it back in time at speed. Now I slowed this way down to like 50%, and that's what Ritchie Blackmore is doing because Ritchie Blackmore is a guitar god. I watched a couple of covers. There's not a whole lot of covers of this one on YouTube. There's only 3 or 4. A couple of the guys bail on that lick and play an easier version, and this is the easier version starting on 8. That is a hell of a lot easier. That is much harder. So you do that twice. So from the bend, and then you're going to go 5 to 7 on the D, and then roll down to 7 on the G, back up to 7 on the D. And then you're going to slide into 7 of the G for 1 note and a little pause, and then you're going to hit it 5 more times. And on the 5th time, you're going to do just a little quarter bend and then release back to the open G. So up to that point, and then you're going to grab the 7th fret again, and this time you're going to slow bend it again, but this time just 6 pick hits. And then you're going to do that lick again 3 more times. And then you're going to go 5, 7 of the D, and then down to 5 of the G and slide out of it. So the whole lick up to that point. And at speed, that's really tough. And then we're into this. So 6 hits at the 7th fret of the D, and then 6 of or 7 on the G, back to 5 of the G, back to 7 of the G. And then you're doing that little hammer-on release again. 7 to 8, back to 7, back to 5, up to 7 on the D. And then you're going to go back to 7 on the D again, down to 5, and then back up to 7 on the G for a bend. and then release back to 5, back onto 7 again, and then that same lick, hammer on 7 to 8, back to 7, back to 5, finishing up on 7. So the whole lick slow. For a double hit on the 7th fret of the D to finish it. And then you're going to repeat that exact same thing twice. And the second time, instead of going up to the 7th fret of the D for the last note, you're when you get to the 5th fret, you're going to hit it twice and then slide up the neck. So, up to that point. And now we're into this. And this is where I mentioned earlier, when he gets up into these lower registers here on the A and the low E, his guitar really gets lost in the mix, and it's really difficult to hear what he's doing. So I kind of just improvise something that sounds like what he's going for, and it sounds good. And so the beginning is perfectly correct. The last couple of notes, I'm not so certain, because it's almost impossible to figure out what he's doing, even at slow speed. It's just his guitar is lost in the mix. So here's the opening to it. 2nd fret of the G for, I think, 6 hits. That's 6. And then you're going to go 5 on the G, back to 2. Did I say 3 earlier? It's 2. And then back to 2, up to 5 of the D. And then you're going to do that twice. Open D, hammer on release back to open from 2, grabbing 3 of the A, and do that twice. And up to that point is correct to the recording. Now here is where his guitar gets really muddy and difficult. So I just repeat that on the top 2 strings, and it sounds good. And finish on the open A. And that sounds fine. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but that works. And like Eddie Van Halen said one time, if it sounds good, it is good. So, that lick. And now we're into a pentatonic scale run. Slowly. And that's starting on the 3rd fret of the A, going up to 5 on the low E, and it basically just works itself right down the pentatonic, all here on 5 and 7. So I'm not going to pick out each note here. I'm just going to play it twice slowly. And then when you get down to that note there at the 7th fret of the G, you're going to skip back down here to 2 and 5, 3 and 5. Hammer on 3 to 5 of the B, release back to 3, and then grab 5 of the G. And how that all fits together. And that begins this part of the lick. And so after you go do that little hammer on, at the end of the scale run. Then you're going to pull off from 5 to 3 up to 5 of the G, and you're going to do that 3 times. And then you're going to go back to hammering on for 2 more times. So the last one, which is basically the end of the scale run, is a hammer-on. The next 3 are pull-offs, the next 2 are hammer-ons of the same pattern. You see what I'm doing there? First one's hammer-on, next 3 are pull-off, next 2 are hammer-on. And then we get this back into the mix. So after the, what is that, 6? That's 6, a pattern of 6. First one you hammer on, the next 3 you pull off, the next 2 you hammer on. After the 6th one, you're going to pull off from 6 to 5 to 3 of the B, up to 5 of the G, and then back to the hammer on again. And you're going to repeat that little pattern 3 times. And then the last one, you're going to go up into this. And that is hammering on 4 to 5, releasing back to 4, and then grabbing 7 of the D. And you're going to repeat it twice. And then you're going to slide into 8, hammer on to 10, down to 8 of the high E, and then a double hit at 10 on the B. So from the scale run, slowly. One more time. And then you're going to slide back into 10 of the B. I think it's 6 more hits. And then 8 to 10, back to 8 of the high E. And then 6 full step bends on the 10th fret. And then we're into this. And that is 10 to 8 of the high E up to 10 of the B, and you're going to repeat that 3 times. And then we're going to do this little lick. Starting on 8 of the B, and then up to 9, and then we're going to do a little chromatic, 9, 8, 7 of the G, and then slide back to 5. And then you're going to go back up to 8, 7, 5 of the G string. And then up to 7, back to 5 of the D, back to 7 of the D, down to 7 of the G, back up to 7 of the D. So from the bends, one more time. And then you're going to go 8, 7, 5 twice. And then you're going to go back up to 7, down to 5, back to 7 of the G. Oh, I'm a little bit lost. I'm just going to pause just for a sec. All right, I'm back. I got it. When I go slowly, I lose the rhythm here. Plus, this is quite difficult. So from the bends, That's what you do. So 8, 7, 5, up to 7 of the D, back to 5, back to 7, and then move down to the G string, do the exact same thing, 5 to 7, back to 5, and then back to this again 2 more times, 8, 7, 5, and then 5 to 7, and each time you get to 7, you're going to do like 5 or 6 pick hits, or you could even slide in, and then you're going to grab 10 of the B string and give it a slow bend. And that is the end of the first half of the solo and the first half of this tutorial. So I'm going to run through that final bit one more time slowly, and then I'm going to run through the whole solo from the faster part. So from the bends. Now, from the beginning. And that leads into the second half of the solo, which we will cover in part 2 next week. So I hope that helped you out. I'm glad to have the only tutorial for this one. I've made a few mistakes here and there, and I'm normally very stickler for mistakes, but this is a tough solo, and good luck with it, and have fun with it, and get that pinky going. And those are some really, really tricky little things to do. That good practice, really good practice. Strengthen up those 2 fingers, ring finger and pinky, get them working together. So good luck with that, and we'll see you next week with part 2. Ciao.